The Krays were notorious identical twin brothers, Ronnie Kray and Reggie Kray, who became infamous in London's organised crime scene during the 1950s and 1960s. Born on October 24, 1933, in Hoxton, East London, they rose to notoriety as the leaders of a criminal empire involved in various illicit activities such as armed robberies, protection rackets, and violence. Their story is one steeped in crime, power, and a peculiar aura of celebrity within the criminal underworld. The Krays were born to Charles David Kray Sr. and Violet Annie Lee, in Hoxton, in the East End of London. They were the youngest of three brothers, with an older brother named Charles. Growing up in the poverty-stricken East End during World War II, the brothers experienced tough times and were drawn to the world of crime from a young age. Ronnie, the older twin by 10 minutes, was known for his volatile and psychopathic tendencies. He displayed signs of mental health issues early on, exhibiting a penchant for violence and erratic behavior. Reggie, on the other hand, was seen as the calmer and more controlled of the two, often acting as the balance to Ronnie's more erratic personality. The Krays rose to prominence during the 1950s and 60s by consolidating power through intimidation, violence, and their reputation for brutality. They established a network of criminal activities that included protection rackets, gambling, and nightclubs. Their influence extended to notable celebrities, politicians, and even law enforcement officials, enabling them to operate with relative impunity. One of their most famous ventures was the ownership of nightclubs, particularly the infamous Esmeralda's Barn in Knightsbridge. These clubs became hubs for London's elite, attracting celebrities and high-profile individuals, which further elevated the Krays' status in both the criminal underworld and the public eye. Their reign, however, was not without opposition. The Richardson Gang, rivals of the Krays, engaged in a violent turf war that escalated tensions in London's criminal landscape during the 1960s. The conflict resulted in numerous acts of violence, including shootings and killings on both sides. The Krays were involved in various criminal activities, and their notoriety stemmed from their willingness to use violence to maintain control. Some of their most notable criminal acts include protection rackets. The Krays extorted money from businesses in their territory, demanding payment for protection from potential harm or vandalism. Armed robberies. They orchestrated and executed several high-profile armed robberies, targeting banks, security vans, and other valuable locations. Murders. The Krays were implicated in several murders, including the deaths of rivals within the criminal underworld and individuals who crossed them. Illegal gambling. They operated illegal gambling dens, controlling the gambling scene in their territory and profiting significantly from these ventures. The Krays empire began to crumble in the mid-1960s as law enforcement intensified efforts to dismantle organized crime in London. The turning point came with the arrest of the Krays on May 8, 1968, charged with the murders of George Cornell and Jack McVitie, both suspected of being rivals or individuals who had challenged the Krays' authority. The subsequent trial in 1969 led to the Krays' conviction for murder, resulting in life sentences. They were incarcerated in separate prisons and spent the remainder of their lives behind bars. The Krays' impact on popular culture extends far beyond their criminal activities. Despite their notoriety, they became somewhat iconic figures, especially in East London. Their blend of charisma, fearlessness, and the ability to navigate both the criminal underworld and the higher echelons of society left an indelible mark on the public consciousness. Their story has inspired numerous books, documentaries, and articles, with authors and filmmakers fascinated by the intricacies of their lives and the era they inhabited. Their personalities, particularly Ronnie's volatile nature and Reggie's more composed demeanor, added depth to their narrative, creating a dichotomy that intrigued storytellers. The Kray story has been portrayed in various forms of media, with films and television series offering dramatized versions of their lives. Each portrayal sought to capture the essence of their characters and the era in which they operated. Legend, a 2015 film featuring Tom Hardy as both Ronnie and Reggie, offered a stylized glimpse into their lives, focusing on their criminal exploits, their relationships, and their eventual downfall. The movie depicted their rise to power, the complexities of their personal lives, and the violence that marked their criminal reign. Beyond film, their story has been retold in documentaries, giving a more factual representation of their lives, criminal activities, and the impact they had on London's underworld. The Krays' legacy is deeply intertwined with the East End of London. Despite their criminal activities, they were seen as protectors by some in the local community. Their generosity toward the poor and disadvantaged in their neighborhood created a paradoxical perception, where they were both feared and revered. Moreover, their connection with celebrities and influential figures added an air of mystique around them, elevating their status even further within the social fabric of London. The portrayal of the Krays in popular culture has sparked ethical debates. Some critics argue that glamorizing or romanticizing their criminal endeavors could glorify violence and criminal behavior. It raises questions about the ethical responsibilities of storytellers when depicting real-life criminals and their actions. However, proponents of these portrayals argue that exploring the lives of individuals like the Krays allows for a deeper understanding of the complexities of human nature, the allure of power, and the blurred lines between good and evil. The Kray story continues to captivate audiences due to its compelling mix of crime, power, and the enigmatic personalities of Ronnie and Reggie. Their impact on popular culture is undeniable, with their lives immortalized in books, films, and documentaries, perpetuating their status as legendary figures in the history of organized crime. While their criminal activities were abhorrent, the fascination with their story remains, highlighting the enduring allure of figures who straddle the fine line between infamy and fascination, leaving an indelible mark on British history and popular culture.